ready for a change?
I am talking to you.
Then get ready to explore the quantum possibilities. It's time to transform that outdated paradigm into something universal and new. Time to uncover the truth hidden beneath the veil of lies. A time to think outside the box as we link to a higher consciousness. Welcome to the awakening. And now the hosts of Broadcast Team Alpha, Nori Love and Augie Nost.
Don't you love his voice? If I were not allergic to marriage, I think I might marry him. Hello, very vibrant Venusians. How are you tonight? It's Tuesday. You're like, yeah, Nori, I know. That's why we're here. Thank you for being here. We have a really interesting guest tonight, and I've been, what would the word be? It's almost like stalking his YouTube channel, but it's not creepy, because it's for the purpose of the show. So I have a lot of really good questions for him. But first, I just want to say hi to everybody. I see you all in the chat room. Thank you for being here early. Thank you, everybody. How are you guys doing with these energies? It seems to me like people are either like floating downstream, and other people are like white knuckling the roller coaster, and there's nothing in between. You're like, oh, and I was the latter. Thank you very much. So it's been interesting. And, I think some of our conversation, hello, Parked Cake. I think some of our conversation tonight, could even help us during this time. So I just want to invite you to connect with us at broadcastteamalpha.com, or go check out the Mastermind Connection on Patreon. Go check it out and just see what you think. And if you're interested, you can send us an email to themastermindconnection@gmail.com. We have some really cool things going on, especially on Sunday at 3 p.m. 2 p.m. is a regular mastermind. 3 p.m. we have been making contact with an extra dimensional. Actually, he's a Pleiadian, or they're a Pleiadian. So anyway, check that out. And with any further ado, Augie, tell us about our amazing guest.
Oh, yes, absolutely. We have Robert Maxxim with us. And I tell you, folks, this is going to be good. Our guest has had an incredible life so far. He has seen things and done things other people would only dream about or think was impossible. Here's a few things that I want to mention about him. Robert was born in Havana, Cuba, and he started to play piano at the age of 3. And he had his first alien contact at the age of 5. And then he immigrated to the United States in 1969, and from 1973 he has had physical contact regularly with beings from other worlds. He is an astral traveler and have had experiences going to Venus, Mars, Saturn, Alpha Centauri, Carina. I don't even know where that is. But the next one I'm going to mention, I know, Nora, and I really want to hear about, and that is the Pleiades. And he has been given information on interdimensional science, energy, how the soul functions. And here is the big one, the meaning of life.
Really?
Yeah.
Finally.
And he's also seen information on past civilization, Atlantis, Pan, maybe even the first people. And much of this info he has compiled into a novel that is called Legacy, and you'll find it on his website. He also worked for NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory in the 1980s, and you will find him on radio, on TV, and international conferences quite often. And I did mention his website. Here it is, UnariansUnited.com. And I want him to bring that up a couple or 3 times here for those of you out there that didn't have a pen close by, because you're going to want to go there and see this. So welcome to the show, Robert.
Welcome, Robert.
Thank you for having me
Yeah.
on the show. I'm here to serve.
Oops, are you there, Robert?
You're a little low.
Little low.
Volume.
Is this a little better?
That is better. Yay.
A little better.
Good. Well, thank you.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Gosh, you've done so much, seen so much, and been involved in so much. I don't have no clue on where to start. Maybe just take a stab at it. When you were really young, you had an experience at the age of 5 when you had your first experience with something that is outside or extraterrestrial, intraterrestrial, or whatever you would call it. How was that like for you as a little kid?
Well, Cuba was a very closed society. There were things that we were not taught. We were not told. The universe was basically the horizon. That was it. So one day in school, I'm playing in the courtyard in Havana. I look north towards the ocean. The sky was cloudless, electric deep blue, and all of a sudden my sight are directed towards this object that's hanging vertically, I would say a good 6-7 kilometers away, but it was really big. And all of a sudden I'm taken out of my body as soon as I see it, and I feel this communication going on. It's not words, it's just feelings. And they're coming at me so fast that I'm just frozen. It's like every second or every second I'm receiving about an hour's worth of communication. And I'm looking at this object and friends tapping me on the shoulder and not knowing why I don't move. But I keep looking at it, and all of a sudden it becomes horizontal and it just takes off. It goes from one point of the horizon to the other in less than a second. Speed-wise, I don't know, maybe 50,000 kilometers an hour. It's just incredible amount of speed. But ever since that day, I became someone else. I became filled with different capabilities. I learned piano in almost overnight. I could actually speak in astronomical terms. I was describing a pseudo ring around Uranus and Jupiter. More moons in Jupiter and Saturn than people had counted. And people didn't even know what I was talking about. The space flight, how to achieve space flight. People thought that I was cooked.
Like you were baked.
Yeah, and I still do have people who are alive that remember what I would say.
So can I ask you a question? Do you feel like, of course, Pixie's barking. Pixie saying hi to the chat room. So do you think, you said you were forever changed. Do you think that you changed, or do you think that there was like a walk-in?
Well, it's a walk-in, but from my own higher self. It was a linkage. And I started to get downloads of information. And it's just been recently that I've been able to understand how this whole thing works. It's just not the higher self, but an entire brotherhood of minds. It's an infinite brotherhood. And you really cannot separate one from the other. They're all one being. And we're talking both physical as well as spiritual beings that don't need to incarnate. There's trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions. They don't have names. They call each other brother. They announce themselves to me as a brother, and even though I may know them from someplace, all I feel is something similar to a symphony, a sound, a melody, a fragrance. That's their name.
Wow, I understand that. That's unbelievable. So you're talking about experiencing those frequencies on on this, it's not just the sensual, on the spiritual level. Is that accurate?
That is correct. All mental transactions are handled at a subdimensional level above the physical, not in the physical. So this unity actually transpires in a higher spiritual level than the physical. That's where all astral travel occurs. Mental telepathy, union, looking into the future, the past, Akashic records, everything actually happens in this higher subdimension where the consciousness actually resides. How this functions could take me 3 days to describe. But in short, that's the short answer of it. The consciousness is not really in the body. It is outside of the body and uses the body as an avatar.
Right.
What it senses here is, shall we say, the lower form or the ego. And that's what it comes here to train, to educate, to learn from and evolve. So that lower self can move on, say, to a more advanced world from this one. But it has to shed all of its emotions, negative learnings. It needs to learn. It needs to grow in wisdom in all of its facets. The ego is not one mind. It's thousands. And each is an experience. It's an emotion. It's a feeling. It's a knowledge. Each of them has to be educated, taught, listened to, educated with love so that it can evolve up, and eventually you might get a visa to get out of here.
So can I just go back to one thing? I mean, everything that you said is, I'm acknowledging it, and I'm in the process of wrapping my brain around it as I ask you another question. So
Sure.
that when you went from horizon to horizon in like a second, I know that feeling. I know exactly what you're talking about. And it's not, I don't even know if you can call it a feeling, right?
Right. It's more like you are in 2 or 3 places at the same time. And sometimes you're looking at yourself from aside, from above, but yet you're inside. There is no space, there is no time, there's just consciousness, understanding. You can be anywhere at any time, past, future, there's no present, or any location. It's just instant awareness.
I love it. I love this. This is amazing. I'm so happy you're here with us.
And I think what you did explain just a little while ago, I think you talked yourself right into one of the questions that I had, the meaning of life, when you were talking about this. Isn't that close?
Very close. The soul is actually like a large skyscraper. In that soul or in that skyscraper, there are several floors or several mansions. So in each of those mansions or floors, there is a certain level of intelligence or wisdom, different versions of us. Just as our ego has thousands of different personalities, we have millions of personalities between this plane and, shall we say, the higher self, or the very tip of our soul. Each of those is a spirit. Each of those is us, but in different levels. The consciousness is the elevator that goes up and down, touching each of those experiences, feeling them, and educating them. The consciousness is the spokesperson for the higher self. In a sense, that consciousness up and down in what we call reincarnation to gather knowledge somewhere up there and bring it down to these lower levels. And eventually, the whole purpose is to elevate and unify these planes of intelligence into one joining with that higher self. And that could take billions of years, but that is where you achieve true mastery. So what is the purpose of life? Learn from experience, gain wisdom, and put it into action. You don't put your life into games or into entertainment that will not teach you something. It's serious business. Time is short. And reincarnations here, you don't want to have too many. You can see where the world is going. So you do want to take advantage of that gift that you come with, that education. Apply it. And love yourself in every possible angle, because love is knowledge.
Yeah. I have then kind of a thought here I want to run by you, because in the physical, a lifetime could be maybe 75 to 120 years. But once you are on the outside, you can look back at it and you can see it. It could only take a moment to review all of it and know everything you did. So time out there is different, if there even exists.
That is correct. And I experienced that on my first astral flight to Venus. I was.
Can we talk about Venus, please? I'm sorry, but
sure.
I binge watched your video of Venus for probably I was working out to it. It was just mesmerizing. I couldn't turn it off.
Well, I had never had an astral flight. I had never seen anything like that. But what got me there was just consistent asking.
Really?
I wanted to know. I almost sounded like that Russian spy in the last Indiana Jones movie. I am ready. I can learn. I can take it. Yes, I want to know. I'm ready. So, yes, and eventually I found that I wasn't.
Oh no! I hate when that happens.
Well, I fell asleep at 10 o'clock exactly. I was just like, boom, gone. I go to a white tunnel. I show up. There's these 5 Nordic guides that are waiting for me, just like in the video. They take me all over the planet. They tell me that I'm going to be returning exactly 2 hours. And I grudgingly come back 2 hours later to the second. And guess what? They're right by my bed, physically talking to me.
Really?
Yeah, they were there. But what I saw in Venus is just incredible. The video just doesn't justice to it. I mean, they showed me prophecy, things that were going to happen.
Wow.
They showed me science. They showed me...
Is that what those torsion fields were?
The what, I'm sorry?
So there was a room that looked like a typical ship, right? A spaceship with a big screen, and there were these 3 things that almost looked like cells, if you will. But if you look closer, they kind of reminded me of a torsion field.
Well, what you saw there was a hospital.
A hospital.
It's a hospital, and what they deal with are individuals that commit suicide. In the process of committing suicide, the ego actually dislodges the consciousness. The consciousness is basically born out, and these hospitals help reintegrate the consciousness back with the soul system. It's very important. Now, a person could be there 200 years, 500 years, maybe longer, reintegrating, but that's what they're doing. And you could see the massive size of the room.
It was massive.
There's a lot going on. So, a word to the wise, don't do it.
That is so amazing that there's a hospital for that. Oh my God. In the ethers or wherever it is.
Very real.
That is outside of the physical, right?
Man, talk about getting overtime pay for being a nurse there.
Yeah. Well, the important thing about Venus is you have life that exists in different planes. I was taken from one plane to another, always itching it higher. I'm taken on board ships, told how they work. I talk to a master. The master shows me my ego. I get all embarrassed. But then I'm told on the way back, I actually see beings as living flames.
Wow.
And that was as high as I could go. And that's when I was brought back. And then, short of it is, after that, I see a spacecraft come into my room. I go out. Now I go to Saturn. Next, I go to Mars, and it just keeps going all night.
You're busy.
Right. I was busy that night. But before this whole thing started, I saw like about 100 spacecraft outside my house. That was a precursor. But the information of what I saw up there, there's no way I could put on a video. I spent easily 100 years up there in 2 hours.
Wow. So when there were 100 ships outside your window, what were you thinking?
I didn't know.
Like, whoa. Wow.
But that was just to get me ready.
Wow.
My parents saw it. They were less than a block away, all over the place.
Let me ask you this, though. Now, you have gone through all this and experienced all this. Why you?
Because I asked for it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I asked for it in this life. I also asked for it before coming to this life. I really wanted to get this life over. I said, this is it. I want to put in all my irons, all my effort. I don't want to come back. Whatever I need to do, let's get it done now.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, this was, all kidding aside, this is very serious. I really wanted to face my past, upgrade my lower self, and do a mission. And as I was told at the end of all these visions, I was told, show them how to live. And I said, I don't know how to live. How can I show them? Well, hello, figure it out. We've told you enough. Now put it to practice.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, man.
How different are you? Okay, you said you're completely different, but how did your life change? And actually, we may need to talk about this when we come back from the break, but I'm curious just about some personal things, things that we think about here on Earth, like, how your relationships may have changed or your work. I mean, you used to work at NASA, right? That was interesting. So when we come back from the break, do you mind if you kind of paint us a picture of what your life looks like after the change?
Sure, I have no mind.
You have no mind? Yeah. Really? You have to explain that to me.
It's good to have humor.
Excellent to have humor.
Yeah, and we want to hear about the Unarians also. That is, I've been reading about that. It is some phenomenal information on that website. That dates back into the 1950s or before. So this is also something that we want to hear about, because this could turn into a great source of information for people. In fact, I went and signed up. I'm one of your members now.
I just want all your novels. That's what I decided. I just want all your novels. I cannot wait to purchase them.
Consider it done.
Absolutely. Right. Awesome.
Okay, well, we got 30 seconds left for the break, so let's go do that, and then we will come back talking more about the universe, and we got some good ones coming up. I want to ask something about the origin of mankind also. So let's go to break.
This is the Broadcast Team Alpha Show, hosted by Nori Love and Augie Nost. The one show that takes your doubts of the unknown and spins them into reality. Share your thoughts by calling our hotline number at 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230.
Call now.
Worldwide callers use Skype name KCOR Radio. More cutting-edge conversation and exploration of the quantum universe after this.
One of the planet's most powerful antioxidant products is here for you to enjoy. Chaga Mushroom Tea. This tea has been used as a potent natural health solution for thousands of years. In fact, the Chinese call it king of the herbs. The health value alone is worth a look, as Chaga Mushroom Tea packs a punch with pure vitality and smooth energy. It's 100% wild crafted, safe, and effective. Get it now at arcticchaga.com. That's ARCTICCHAGA.com, or call 916-969-2678. That's 916-969-2678. Chaga Mushroom Tea. Chaga Mushroom Tea. Order your supply today.
Great. It's great. I think it's great. I think it's
The all-new KCOR Digital Radio Network.
great.
Make a note of it.
It's great.
This is how we do every day. We be grinding, and if you wanna come and test us,
If you love them enough to turn off your music and pretend like their music is your music,
This is Mommy's jam.
then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Let's play it again.
Check today at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
If ever a breed was affectionate to a fault, it's the Golden Retriever. They're people dogs, pure and simple. And the Golden Retriever Rescue of Southern Nevada needs your help. If you would like to volunteer, foster, adopt, or donate, go to the Golden Retriever Rescue of Southern Nevada's website at grrsn.org. That's grrsn.org. Or call 598-GOLD. That's 598-GOLD.
Looking for a radio show like no other?
We need something brand new.
Then tune into the KCOR Digital Radio Network, Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, and get ready for The Quantum Shift. A great shift of consciousness is sweeping across the Earth. Are you ready for the dimensional shift?
It is amazing, is it not?
The Quantum Shift. Quantum Shift. Quantum Shift. Hosted by Dr. Sam Muggsy, Kent Dunn, and Gary Parson. Be part of the fifth dimensional reality, where consciousness prevails and the universal law of one is the only true reality. The Quantum Shift. Quantum Shift. Quantum Shift. Quantum Shift. Live Tuesdays, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network.
Going live.
Come explore the quantum possibilities. This is Broadcast Team Alpha. Broadcast Team Alpha. To be on the show live, call 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230. Worldwide callers use Skype name KCOR Radio. Share your thoughts of the show on Twitter at KCOR Radio, #KCOR. Or join the cutting edge conversation live in our chat room at KCORradio.com. Now back to Broadcast Team Alpha with your free thinking hosts, Nori Love and Augie Nast.
And big shout out to the chat room. So, you know I love my chat room. There's 59 viewers and there's 20 speakers. So I'm assuming that the 20 speakers are the people who are in the chat room. So if you want me to say hi to you and acknowledge you and beam positive energy your way, please join us in the chat room. So there's Margaret. Hi, Margaret. She's not working tonight. Yay. Iowa Girl. Park Cake. Yappy's here. Hey, John. Rob. Summer is here. And the amazing, beautiful, rich, and famous Tina Marie is here. Karen is here. And I said that. And Condor is here. And Naj is here. And, Nori Love's here. Wave Rider is here. Sunny Fix is here. Karen and Wave Rider. JC is here. Thank you for being here, everybody. We sure do appreciate you. And just another mention, because it's a little, I still walk around in disbelief that we get to talk to a Pleiadian on Sunday at 3 p.m. in the Mastermind Connection. It's a channeled experience, and I walk around truly in disbelief at times. I mean, I spend a portion of my day going, how can that really happen? But it's happening. So if that's of interest to you, their name is Alchemedes, not Archimedes, Alchemedes. We just encourage you to send us an email at themastermindconnection@gmail.com. So thank you for that. Thanks, guys. Thanks for being patient with me.
All right. Well,
did you fall asleep?
No.
Come on, tell the truth. Were you napping?
You didn't hear me. You didn't hear me snore, did you? I was thinking that you were just going to continue. Anyway, yes, we want to continue a little bit about this, and what I mentioned also is previous civilizations. I want to hear a little more about the ancient.
Okay, wait, Augie, I'm sorry, I have to interrupt you. But for the people who are interested and kind of on a cliffhanger, because I promised we'd talk about Robert's life the way that it looks now.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, we have to address that first, please.
Yeah.
Robert, what can you tell us about, your everyday life? I mean, do you have a dog? Are you married? Or what's it like for you?
Well, I'm married to my perfect half orange. Been married for about 35 years.
Aww.
Love her to life. She's been an inspiration to me, very supportive, very understanding. She's beginning to travel the world with me to give conferences, and great choice as far as I'm concerned. Great cook. Oh, she makes great Mexican food.
Amazing.
Oh, yes. So I basically dedicate my life to information technology. I manage IT departments. Right now, because of COVID, of course, I'm looking for an opportunity somewhere. But I just got done working in Morenci for the Freeport-McMoran mines. I was running the IT organization there. So I'm back to Phoenix, looking for my next life's mission.
And it will come.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So I have a question before we go to ancient civilization. You were talking about, during one of your interviews, where were you? You were at like a museum or something. There was a lot of background noise, and it was like an hour interview. Do you know which one I'm referring to?
Oh, yes, that was at the Chicago Museum of Science.
That's it. That was right. In that interview, you said that DNA is a representation of spiritual force.
I'm glad you asked that question. So how it works is in the spiritual realms, between the third and the fourth dimension, the consciousness creates, say, a physical pattern. That pattern is then replicated into the physical dimension to create what we know as the body. The DNA, the RNA, all of that is, say, pre-manufactured and then brought to resolve in this physical dimension. However,
pre-manufactured.
Yeah, it's pre-manufactured, prefabbed.
Wow, that's amazing.
There is a problem between that subdimension and the physical. There is a little quirk that happens. It's called the ego. The ego intercepts that transmission, and it brings its memories from the past to bear. So let's say that you have a memory of, losing an arm. Well, guess what? When your body replicates, you're going to have arm problems. So you're going to have, something will happen to your arm because it's replicating now the pattern from the ego. So healings occur when you're able to recognize that past life incident and be able to clean that event to get your body back how it works. I've experienced that a million times. I used to suffer from a lethal disease called pemphigus.
Pemphigus?
Pemphigus. So your body's immune system starts bleeding through the skin, and it comes through the skin and explodes like a volcano.
Wow.
It just burns. It's horrible.
Wow.
Your whole body is like burnt with these spots, eruption spots, bleeding and what have you. I healed it.
Wow.
And I healed it by seeing 3 lives where I was burnt at the stake. Or doing what I'm doing today. So that was an instant cure. I mean, the pemphigus effect started going down. I was given 3 months to live.
How old were you when this was at its peak? Or?
Well, it lasted for 7 years. It ended in the year 2003. It was so bad. Now, imagine, I'm a concert pianist. I could not sit at the piano and play for more than one song. I would have to excuse myself, go outside, take out my shirt and my suit, roll in the snow to cool my body down. Wow. I would have to then get dressed and go back in. I would plow snow with flip-flops, shorts, and a T-shirt, 10 degrees.
Wow.
So,
you know what? I bet that actually helped you heal.
Actually, it was the memory. Once I had that memory cleared,
how did you clear it? Was it intentional, or did you have like a heal? I mean, how did you clear that?
I saw the past life event.
Right.
And once I saw it, it was just an understanding that comes to you. You relive the pain. You relive what you did. All of the events leading to it. You just feel them. And once you do, you're now reversing that. You're putting a positive bias by adding understanding and love to that event. And it doesn't cancel out. It just overlays new knowledge over it, new experience. And now it stops being a problem. I had the same thing reliving a hanging. This was about 4 years ago. I was
Did you have a
in
stiff
3
neck?
minutes.
No, I'm sorry.
I actually died for 5 minutes.
Oh, it took you 5 minutes?
I was dead for 5 minutes because of the disease.
Okay.
I was brought back. It was an, what do you call these, death and come back.
Near-death experiences?
It was a near-death experience.
No, that was a real one.
Yeah. And I was brought back, and a couple of minutes later, just relaxing, I was able to see the event. The disease I had for a week was gone. I had twisted my neck. The pain was gone. My neck was fully functional. And it's interesting that I had to fall and literally break my neck to remember it was a hanging. So sometimes things happen so you remember.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. And I'm so happy you're saying that, because when I worked in the burn and the trauma ICU, we would get these patients in with just, bizarre, out there, the most seasoned trauma surgeons never saw that before. And I would always say to them, use your mind and use your energy to make you well. And sometimes I wondered if this had to do with other memories, not just what was going on, in this time and space.
That's right. Because ego is nothing but repeat.
Wow.
It's a rerun. It even happens in this life. How many times will you be going down the street and your head starts playing a song you heard back when you were 20 years old? It just comes back. Everything is a rerun. Everything pre-happened, or it's a precursor for something that occurred, and you should pay attention because it's a clue.
Wow. Yeah. It's a clue to go raising your energy even more.
That's right, because once you recognize your ego and your past, your frequency's going up.
Mm-hmm.
And I imagine once you recognize it and you identify it, then you can get your head inside of it and pour love into it.
Exactly.
Now, the love will change the vibration. It doesn't take away the experience, but it loses its negative vibration when you pour love into it.
Exactly. That's how it works.
Yeah.
It's easy.
Well, at least
it's easy if you don't get triggered by your ego. If you get triggered by your ego, then you're on the spin cycle. You're on your own for a while.
Yeah, we have to control. Mm-hmm. We have to control that naughty kid.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, there is two things I really want you to touch on, and that is the ancient, maybe the beginning of mankind, and I also want to hear about what you have experienced in the Pleiades.
Okay. Well, I can take you back to about 1 million years. The majority of people that live here today were brought here 1 million years ago because they could not get along. And so they were brought here to work out their own peace. Now, what do I mean by not getting along? In the first section of this interview, I mentioned that there is a subdimension where we're all united, we're all in brotherhood, we're all in love with one each other. We are one mind, one being, but separate experiences. We were like that, but some of us decided, well, I want to be independent. I want to have my own say. I want to have my own will. Nobody can say no, except those that detached. What they did with their independence was horrible. We've heard stories, we've seen movies about Star Wars and Galactic Wars. That's what happened. We had to be put down. We had to be controlled, and we had to be brought here. And we've been here ever since. Now, what's happened? We've been given millions of opportunities to go back and stop our ego and join this brotherhood. We had Shambhala here 400,000 years ago. We had, and this is on our DNA, and you can check out the YMRCA back to 265,000 years ago. We had to start up a Lemuria then. Mm-hmm. And what did we do in Lemuria? Well, our egos took over and we went out and we destroyed Mars. Mm-hmm. I helped in doing that. I testify that. I had a role in that. Long story, but it's in my website, which is rgaetan.com. You can read that story there. Lemuria eventually destroyed itself about 75,000 BC. It's in our DNA. We can check also the mitochondrial bottleneck. It's there. Mm-hmm. Then came you. We did the same thing. Then came Atlantis. We did the same thing. Then came Egypt and Peru. We did the same thing. And here we are in the US of A, some of us in Arizona. And what are we doing? The same thing. So that's basically the history of mankind. And why do we get into trouble? Because we want to be independent and we want to follow somebody. And if the leaders of our world did not have followers, they would not be up there.
Yeah.
The only person we need to follow is our own inner higher self. That's our only teacher. I always tell anyone that I talk to, number one, I'm not a teacher. I'm not a leader. I don't want followers. I just want brothers and sisters. And I don't want fame and I don't want money. That's it. I just want to get out of here someday. So that's worth everything to me. I want to go back home, and I can talk about, for example, Mars, which is where I was at before I got messed up with Lemuria.
Do you consider that home?
That's my home.
I see.
The Pleiades was my home 1 million years ago, and I have drawings of that I've made of those times. The Pleiadians, Nordics, very tall, very wise, worlds of light, incredible crystal buildings. If you have seen Venus, you're basically seeing the Pleiades. Now, they have different levels of civilizations, just like they do in Venus. On Venus, you have the more physical types of beings. And I know, astronomically, you can't live there the way it is in our plane. But if you start scaling up the physical planes, you will find that's very habitable.
Yep.
Because the laws of physics are different in these subdimensions. They are still physical beings like you and I, but they're on a higher level. Very livable. I have been there. You have all the way up to the fourth dimension, which is celestial. And that's pretty much to the video that you saw of Venus. That's the highest levels. I couldn't go any higher than that. I only lasted like 5 seconds.
Wow.
Well, actually, when it comes to Venus, there were people living on the surface at one time too, because I have NASA prints showing 2 pyramids on Venus.
They still exist.
Yeah.
I mean, you do have bases on the surface, in spite of the weather. They can live there. They can adapt to the environment. They can live within it. They can shield themselves. It's not a problem. Do they live underground? Yes, they do. Are there bases in the physical level where we are? Yes. But is it the majority or the preferred method of life? No.
Oh, no.
But why are they there? They are there to keep an eye on something that's not right. And that's called planet Earth. Because of something the planet Earth did back in 1954.
What did it do?
You had 2 parties come to this planet to help. One offered spirituality and asked for the nuclear bombs to be done away with. The other one said, "No, I don't care what you do yourselves. We'll give you technology." Guess what we chose? Technology.
Yep.
Every 10 years, the treaty is renegotiated. We have received technology up the kazoo. We have spacecraft. We have UFOs made in the U.S. I have witnesses.
Right.
I have seen them. I have seen the plans. Have been in the bases. It's indisputable. It does exist.
Yeah.
The TR3B exists. Now, are we welcomed in any of the Brotherhood worlds? The answer is no. Now, we've heard reports from some people that say that we have bases on Mars, we have bases on the moon. We're not allowed up there. We are not allowed. Are we allowed in some other worlds? Yes. Some worlds that are allies with these beings that brought us the technology? Absolutely. They have a name. The name is, don't be surprised by this, it's called the Galactic Federation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you've heard a lot about them. They are
Absolutely.
not the Brotherhood. They're not the Brotherhood. They're the bad guys.
Okay, so the Galactic Federation are the bad guys?
They are.
Not the Brotherhood of Light.
Exactly. They mixed that in to make themselves appear like they are light beings. They are not. Now, I know, and you mentioned Unarius. Maybe I should take 30 seconds to talk about this.
Yes, please, because we got 4.5 minutes left.
Okay, I'll go fast. Back in 1954, Dr. Ernest L. Norman channeled Shambhala and channeled the Unarius planes. Very true. It helped to confirm what I saw, and that's why I read and I support Dr. Norman's works. However, his wife, after his death in 1972, invented what was called the Galactic Federation. Wow. And ever since it's taken off, they helped instigate it. And it's absolutely false. So beware. There is a Unarius in California. Be careful. Because what they have to sell you is not correct. A lot of it is made up. Don't fall for that. What I help to support under Unarians United is the true works of Dr. Norman, and I stand behind them because I'm able to prove them. And I'm able to, they confirm what I saw, I confirmed what Dr. Norman saw. So that's the short and skinny of Unarius. And what it's all about is there are 7 Shambhala worlds in the celestial realms. That's where the higher selves operate from. There's 7 schools. Venus is one of them. Venus is healing. Then you have a scientific plane, you have philosophical plane, devotion, arts. I mean, you have 7 different centers.
I want to go to school there.
Yeah, well, you do.
Yes.
All of us do. We just don't remember it.
Yeah.
All of us do. Anyone that's seeking the light is going there. And if people watch the Venus video, they'll probably remember.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I see now we got 2.5 minutes left, so let's give you the floor. Tell people what you want them to know and also how they can get a hold of you.
Well, my website is free to everyone. It is RGAE as in Echo, T as in Tom, AN.com. I have a lot of material, videos, pictures. I have evidence, scientific evidence there and studies. I get a lot into health. The message from the Apunians and Alpha Centauri is very clear. You should read about it there. It's just how we mistreat each other and how we create a mental pandemia by passing negative emotions from one to another. That's the real pandemic. Our emotions from one person to the other. We need to stop that. We all want peace on this planet, but we want somebody else to do it. We don't pick up the ball. So we have to do it. We have to change ourselves. We have to love ourselves and understand ourselves before we can do that on anyone else. And we all want to know what the infinite is, but if we don't know ourselves, if we don't know our neighbor, much less are we going to know the infinite. So the lesson starts inside. Conquer yourself, love yourself, and then you'll be going somewhere.
Thank you.
Yeah,
that was
gosh.
powerful. That's powerful.
Yeah, gosh, we only have a minute left, and we were just about able to scratch the scratch on the scratch that was scratched into the surface. So, can we get you to come back and talk more about this?
Absolutely.
Oh, let's do
Excellent.
that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Such a pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you
very much for being with us. And we're going to try to get you back as soon as possible here because I totally missed the play it is. We didn't get to talk about it, and we need to. So.
Yes, we do.
Until then, be good to each other.
Absolutely. Namaste.
Namaste.
You've been listening to Broadcast Team Alpha.
Broadcast Team Alpha.
Hosted by Nori Love and Augie Nost. Every Tuesday night at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. The balance of power is shifting to a new paradigm. Will you be ready? For more information on Broadcast Team Alpha, as well as the hosts, Nori Love and Augie Nost, please visit their website at broadcastteamalpha.com. Until next week, remember to keep those minds open while always exploring the endless quantum possibilities.
Broadcast Team Alpha. Over and out.
This is KCOR Las Vegas, home of the Digital Radio Network, broadcasting from a shack just south of Area 51.
Wait, that doesn't exist.
This is the KCOR Digital Radio Network. Now for the news.